Welcome back to Jersey Matters. Trying to deal with the stress of war after a soldier, Marine, a sailor returns back to the United States. Sometimes the war doesn't leave them. And the gentleman I'm about to introduce you to helps veterans deal with that stress. Jonathan Mueller is on the leadership team of Heroes on the Water. What exactly is Heroes on the Water?
Well, Heroes on the Water takes our wounded veterans out kayak fishing to help them relax, rehabilitate, and reintegrate.
It's got to be more than just the fishing on the water that helps with the rehabilitation. So you take them out for several hours. Is it just the camaraderie? Is there some type of science behind the therapy?
Well, there's a number of things. There is science behind the therapy, and I had a friend, Dr. Wallace Nichols, wrote a whole book called Blue Mind. It's all about that, and it plays itself out in the program that we have. We have veterans come back from war. Some of them have physical injuries, some of them have mental injuries or psychological injuries. And what we found is putting them on the water for a number of reasons makes them much more amenable to or receptive to their therapies that they get off of the water. So we put them out in kayaks. We get them with their other veterans as well. Remember, they come home. We do a poor job at integrating. We do a great job at training an incredible fighting force, the best in the world. We do a horrible job at deprogramming and bringing them home. There's a warrior ethos. They never give up, never quit. And all of a sudden, a lot of them, because of their injuries, are told, well, you're retired. And they feel like they're leaving their brothers and sisters. They feel like they're quitting.
And there's a lack of purpose. I've heard that too.
Absolutely. And they go home and they're not near these folks that they supported and went through some pretty traumatic experiences with. So not only is it just the floating around and all those therapeutic qualities of the water, but they're in environments that are relaxing and they're with people who understand the psychological things that they're going through.
And the next step in that, when those two things join together, they probably open up like they never have before and let some things out that they've been holding in.
Yes, so it's pretty incredible. Exactly that happens. And sometimes we get a lot of repeat customers. They come back, they really like the experience. They don't talk, and we never ask them. But I've had several of them all of a sudden, after being with them several times, just completely open up and tell very heart-wrenching stories about what they went through. But they're doing that because they're releasing it. They're becoming comfortable with it. They're accepting it. And it's moving. We actually had 2 of them in the last 3 years tell us that the program saved their life.
You know, I was just going to go to that. I was just going to talk about that because we sometimes forget and don't take into account that the casualties of war are much more than the people that hit an IED or were shot in battle in Afghanistan or Iraq. The figures are as high as 22 veterans a day that take their own lives. And so what you're doing, it sounds so nice and you're going out in the water, but it's an important mission because there's an epidemic in this country of our veterans committing suicide because they're not getting the help that they need and they can't assimilate and they can't leave that war, that hell behind.
That's
correct.
And
so you take them out in the water, and is that what you were getting at, that you saved lives because people would have taken their own life?
We have heard it in our chapter, and there's 35 chapters around the country. We've heard it from at least 2 that said specifically they were on the edge and they found this program and it gave them that outlet. It gave them that place to go to get away from all the stimulus that reminds them of their experiences overseas, and told us flat out, it saved their lives. And that's incredibly moving for us, right? The first time we heard that, it made everything worth it.
And how many more didn't tell you?
Who knows? But I'm sure there are a lot.
Right.
And even if there's just one.
I would imagine there may be right now a veteran at home that's watching this, and it may be on the edge and may be fighting the demons that he brought back or she brought back from war and thinking to themselves, wow, I'd love to be a part of this. How do they get a hold of you?
Well, they could look us up. They could go to www.how, or how, Heroes on the Water, nj.com. So HOWNJ.com. It's available to everybody. We don't discriminate. One of the most important parts of this program is connections. We are connecting warriors with other warriors. We are connecting warriors with themselves. We are connecting them with their families and their friends. If what they need is a day on the water with their son, their daughter, their sister, their wife, their friend, their mother, bring them. We'll take them too. And they say that's a big difference from a lot of the other programs that are made available to them.
And then,
and it's all free. They don't pay for anything.
Oh,
we
that's
provide everything. Show up. We give you meals, we give you breakfast, we give you lunch.
Who pays
we give
for
you
this?
kayak. It's the community. We have one of the most amazing communities here in New Jersey. All you have to do is tell them what you're doing, let them know that you're responsible about how you're running this program, and they will help. Everybody helps.
And the great thing about not only having other veterans involved and having veterans go out together, but having family members involved is because in both situations, the therapy continues after they get off the kayak and go home, because you've now arranged this experience and these relationships that may not have been there.
Oh, absolutely. And you know what's fascinating? We've had several that have gone and gotten their own kayaks or fleet of kayaks and now come and participate. We don't know if they're volunteers or participants anymore. We don't know how to categorize them.
Oh, that's interesting.
And we love that.
Because
we
they've
love
been
it.
helped and now they want to help.
Right.
And it
I have
gives
to
them
ask them, are you a
purpose.
coach today? Are you a volunteer? Are you a participant? What do you want to do? Right? And it's just a wonderful dynamic.
And we talked a moment ago about the lack of purpose when you come back. You had a purpose, now you don't have a purpose. This
Absolutely.
gives a purpose.
Absolutely.
I think of American Sniper when I talk
Oh,
about that. The fact that
yeah.
once he got to help other veterans, it probably saved his life.
Absolutely. And I think they talked about it in that movie, right? They
Yeah.
allowed us a
Please,
big
one more
spot in that.
time, talk about how people can get a hold of you because we have to get going. But
They could go to hownj.com or go to Facebook and look up the New Jersey chapter of Heroes in the Water.
great. Thank you so
All right.
much. It's a
Thank you
wonderful
so
thing
much.
you're doing. I really appreciate your work.
Thank you.
Jonathan Mueller, Heroes on the Water. Please, if you know somebody who could benefit from the services that they give, please pass along the information. When we come back, there's a brand new brewery in town, the Beach House Brewery. We'll talk to some of the people involved when we come right back on Jersey Matters.